northern senators, leaders, specifically an Atiku, has called out Tinubu that Tinubu is running an agenda of not democracy but of conquest. He said that Tinubu is doing everything to conquer the power that be. And if we are going to check, if we go deep down, have a deep dive into the political history of Nigeria, who are the powers that be? We are talking of the IBBs. We are talking of the who? The Plateau Mafians. We are talking about the Tiwa Danjumas. We are talking about the likes of Yakubu Gowon. These are all the Fulani elements that have captured, that have ambushed the political relevance and exigencies of Nigeria contraption. Atiku has said that everything about Tinubu since he became the president has been an agenda of conquest. That Tinubu is setting up an empire of the southwest, of his own people, of his Lagos boys, which is going to challenge the status quo of Nigeria. My question to Atiku is, what is the status quo? Oh, is this what Atiku wanted to do when he becomes a president? His agenda was to ensure he emboldens the Fulani oligarchs. Is that his agenda? Right? Because as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I don't support Tinubu, after the Yorubas, those that have gotten more appointments are the Northerners. And we know that the Northerners are doing everything to make sure that Tinubu falls. Why? Because Tinubu is trying to raise up another empire in Nigeria where the empire of the Fulanese have been controlling for donkey years. We know that when it gets to that point, that two empires arise within a territory, it will lead to what? Fracture, right? It will lead to a breakup. And this is what they are scared of. You see them sometimes they send the attack dog, the very famous Senator Ali Ndume. And again, we have seen an Atiku who has become very, very, outspoken and of course violent in his speeches. He has said that Tinubu is a betrayal to democracy. My question to the North, my question to Atiku, my question to everybody that wants to see a Fulani man in that position after just 4 years of a Southerner. This is not a conversation or maybe it is Tinubu or not. Are you a supporter of Nigerian type of democracy? In the Nigerian democracy, we know we are bipolar. We know we are what? We are not monolithic. We are multilingual. There is that constant political warfare between the North and South. It has been agreed, even if it is not constitutional, it has been agreed that the North will complete their 8 years at every cycle, which will be followed by a Southerner. That has always been the word conversation. If in a situation, God forbid, Tinubu kicks the bucket, right? If he kicks the bucket and a Shetima completes the tenure, the South will rise that no, you shouldn't. And if a Shetima dares come forth and he runs and he wins, after him, a Southerner will come and do 8 years. That is what the North did. That is the antecedent that has been laid down. While I understand, while I see that Tinubu himself has been a democracy to the very cause of what we call NADECO, the Nigerian National Democratic Coalition. Like these are people who ganged up against the military juntas, against the military powers of IBB and Abacha. While Tinubu was a part of it, however, in today's that we see, we can no longer say Tinubu is a pro-democrat. However, what Nigeria needs is beyond celebrating democracy. What Nigeria needs is a total dismantling of every power that is holding the progress of every individual region. The Middle Belts have been crying since 1960s. The Middle Belts played a major role. Is it the likes of Yakubu Gowon? Is it the likes of Tiwa Danjuma? They played a very critical role, even though sometimes I look at them and I say that the Middle Belt today, the youth should not ever find it easy to forgive those two political figures, those military figures that I mentioned. I'm talking about Yakubu Gowon and I'm talking about Tiwa Danjuma. Yakubu Gowon, whom was the president, a military head of state, for nothing less than freaking years. He was a man who was there for a very long time, in the period of 1960, is it 66, thereabout, to like 1973, if I'm not mistaken. He was there for that very long time, and we know how the likes of Muritala Mohammed took part from it, then Obasanjo handed over. We know all these stories. Yakubu Gowon could have, at that very moment, make sure that the Middle Belt are what? Institutionalized as a region. They would not be called North Central. If Yakubu Gowon was a man who had the interests of his people at heart, right, he would have dismantled the monopoly, the political monopolies of the Fulani oligarchs. But yes, we found out at the end of the day that Yakubu Gowon was a stooge. The problem they actually have today is Tinubu, who seems to be very self-centered. One thing you cannot take away from him is he is not kowtowing, he is not bowing to the pressures of the northern oligarchs. He is not in any way putting the interests of the Fulanis ahead of his own interests. He's not. This was the mistake Jonathan made. You see, during the time of democracy, when Jonathan was there, Jonathan did everything to always ensure that he did what? He gave the North every preference. I mean, today Tinubu gave out so many awards and honors. If you check it there, you will not find one Fulani name in that list. You will not find one Fulani name in that list. What you will find is an Hausa man, not a Fulani man. Are you with me? So this is what it means. It simply means that these particular people, the pure Fulani breeds, who are actually in charge of our Nigerian politics, who have mixed up, and now we have a new ethnicity. They call it Hausa Fulani because they did that for political gains. You know, they are opportunists. Every threat to their relevance, they will kick against it. And Tinubu today has done one thing. He has sent a signal. He has said, I am very happy when you guys are disarray. He said that to Atiku. He said, your coalition to grab power from me is in disarray. And you scared that I am the cause of your trouble. But anyways, I will show you the video at the end of the day of this my analysis. Is that at the end of everything, I am happy and I find joy in watching how confused and how perturbed, disturbed that you are, that you cannot coalesce with people to push me over. Why? Because he knows, Tinubu, because he knows that he has been able to galvanize most of his southern powers. I don't see I don't see an Obi acting like a desperate man who wants to grab power from Tinubu. I see Obi who wants to go into that election just like a normal opposition. But I'm not seeing him as a very desperate, highly desperate, who has some form of, who has a vendetta agenda in him. I'm not saying that in Peter Obi. What I'm saying is Peter Obi just wants to go into that election, play his part, and maybe if he wins, if he doesn't win, he leaves. But those that are desperate at the north, we know that in the last 3 months, the loudest voice when it comes to let us take power, let us grab this power, let us reclaim this power, let us make Nigeria good. Nigeria, they never made good when they were the military rulers. Nigeria that they never restructured when we had Buhari there. Nigeria that they in fact, when you take a look at between the north and south, who has ruled the most in the 65 years of our almost independence, the north have ruled over Nigeria for almost a period of 50 years. I'm telling you, for almost a period of 50 years. And yet, if you take a look at the poverty, if you take a look at those who just want to remain in power, if you look at those who are covetous for other people's resources, they are the one. There is no need to be hypocritical that Nigeria is not operating democracy. Because you guys who have always been at the corridors of power had every chance to understand that Nigeria cannot function as a unitary state. This is what you guys know. But again, you guys have done everything to fight against it. When the likes of Jonathan went into the confab to ensure Nigeria will be restructured to practice what will reflect our tribal differences and sentiments. We know what they did. They rejected it despite a Jonathan spending a little above 150 billion naira. So these are the issues, because we know that they will do everything to blackmail him. But it's okay. It's not as if Tinubu is a good guy. But let me play that section of his speech where he mocked the northern oligarchs who are plotting against him to impeach him, saying he is a southern president and he already has 90% endorsement from the total south in Nigeria. Let us watch the video together. Thank you.
Political parties fearful of members leaving may be better served by examining their internal processes and affairs rather than fearfully conjuring up demons that do not exist. For me, I will not say try your best to put your house in order. I will not help you to do so either. It is indeed a pleasure to witness you in such a disarray. Please.
I saw this coming. I knew it, and this was why last week or 2 weeks ago I made a video that the Benue youth leaders must brace up because the Nigerian army will come after them. If you have been my ardent follower, right, you would also agree with me that you have also saw this coming. The Nigerian military have now launched a new operation, leaving the Fulani bandits behind, going after the Benue youth leaders, right? They have arrested them, detained them. What is their offense? Simple. They have reason to kick out and fight against every form of terrorism that is carried out by these, marauding herders within their communities. At this stage, I believe the answer to that question is clear, that who are the Nigerian armies actually working for? Whose interests are they protecting? Some days ago, a politician said that there are people within the cadre of the Nigerian military that sell intels to the IS groups. Like, these are the bandits, the genuines. Like, there are people within the military formations that these are people that have been compromised, and they work with Fulani militias by giving their informations like, this is how we intend to come and counter you guys. So you guys should follow this other way of the road. We are not going to meet. And even eventually, if we are going to meet, you guys will be far ahead. We won't be able to catch you guys. Why should the Nigerian army begin to clamp down on young people who just want to leave? Is it an offense in Nigeria that you just want to leave? This land is yours. This land was your ancestors. This land was bequeathed to you by your forebears. This land, at the very beginning, these militias, these invaders, these usurpers were never near that place. It was when Nigeria was formed, because we needed, or we were forced to coexist amongst ourselves. Then these guys were allowed in as at 1914. Do not forget, at the time of 1904, when the jihadists of the Uthman Danfodio that started in 1804, right? Over 100 years. When that jihad started, It was conquered and stopped within the period of 1904 to 1910. And just in a couple of 4 years, the British colonial master joined us together. Then we started seeing the incursions of the Fulani militias, penetrating these middle belt areas. They became resident. They became very, very accommodated by the middle belters, because what happened? This was done not through negotiations. This was done not through consensus. This was done under the barrel of the gun. Anybody who didn't want to accept the settlements of the Fulani militias at then, because they were in cahoots with the British colonial masters. These were the people who were largely employed and deployed into the what? The British police force. Okay? They were the ones they were called, those days they were called Askaris. Okay, are you with me? So these Fulanis, as at then, were largely those that became the police. Hence, they became powerful in the society, right? So they could do and undo within this middle belt area, even in some parts of the south, then, but that was the trend. And that was how we saw that all these guys, these Fulani militias and others, penetrated the middle belt, because right from onset, historically, there has always been a constant conflict between the core north and the middle belters, because the core north have always called the middle belters pagans, Christians, right? All these areas of the southern Kaduna, right into Plateau, into Benue, all those places, they never what accepted or tolerated these elders. They never did. And even when the war started in 1804 by Uthman Danfodio, he faced the biggest and this fiercest resistance as an inside Middle Belt. To be precise, he faced his fiercest resistance right now today, Benue, where the Benue women were the warriors that threw that poisoned him. Now, bringing this situation forward, we begin to understand that, can we agree that the Nigerian army is not in a way being, what should I call it, being neutral here? Because people who have been killed on a daily, these are people who have been depopulated. The last time there was a video that we saw that these militias went into Plateau, which share the same. I mean, they are just almost the same thing. Benue and Plateau. Are you with me? They went into Plateau, shooting sporadically, just straight. If anybody will bullet jam na sabi, those -1. They don't care. No give a damn. While the Plateau youths are still sleeping, the Benue have said, we have had enough. We can no longer be silenced. We can no longer, in the face of fear and death, cower. That even if we agree we're going to die, we'll give it its last fight. And instead of the Nigerian army to give these youth some level of confidence and backup, the Nigerian army, are saying there is too much jungle justice going on in there, that this is not gonna be what in any way tolerated within the territory of Nigeria, that this will lead into anarchy. I beg, waiting those Fulani marauding elders don't they commit all these years? Because they go around in Benue today. I just want to be sure that they will just, if they see that you are physically fit as a Benue youth, they pick you up. Because I know that this is the system in Nigeria.